Hello Capricorn, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. Supportive Oracle cards, Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Okay, Capricorn. I just want to like roll my R with that. Capricorn. Can't seem to do it though. That's okay. Couple cards pushing out at the end. Let's see where that goes. That's redundant. So we're okay. You're heading towards making something come together, and you're getting ready to plan. I feel like you're getting ready to plan, which I'd be like, well, isn't that normal, Capricorn? Like, if you're really going to do something, you have a plan, you create a plan, and you stick to that plan. Isn't that normal? We'll get a little deeper into that, because I'm like, that seems like rudimentary for Capricorn. But, let's go. Going into the situation, like, there's a weird energy. You're planning something. Again, like, the energy goes back and forth. You are planning something. I feel like this is normal. But I think it's like what's going on with the plan and like the energy you're dealing with. The other side of the coin is that what's going on here, who you need to help you with the plan or something like that. Somebody's getting in your way. I think that's what's going on. Let's go a little deeper because there's face down cards and I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm not expecting what happens next. You got the Magician, which is the Alchemist. You got the Page of Swords and you got the Two of Swords. And I feel like this is the evolution about what's about to happen here. You go into something having a complete plan about what you're going to do. And then somebody else has their own plan. And see, this is the thing. It's like you have the Magician card. The Alchemist is the Magician card. Somebody else also has the Magician card. This is kind of the Magician card in this deck. That's how I read it anyway, just to be fair. And they seem to be like, no, I've been working on this. That's why they got the Ten of Pentacles. No, I've been working on this. I know you want to do that, and you have that plan, but I've already been working on this. I got this halfway, or like, I'm a quarter of the way into this. Like, I don't want to go backwards on all the work I've already done. Like, I put in a lot of work to this. And if there's one thing that Earth understands, and Capricorn is Earth, is putting in a lot of effort and not wanting to throw that effort away. So I'm getting like, that's one way for somebody to really impress upon you about how they feel and like to kind of win you over, depending on what they've been doing. But the fact that they've been putting in their own effort and working towards something, and they're like a quarter of the way in, and you're like, well, all right, yeah, I can respect that. If I put in that much effort, I wouldn't want to just throw it away either. I wouldn't want to just change direction. I haven't really started moving forward yet. That's why you get the Two of Swords, kind of like, oh, all right, yeah, I mean, I have my own ideas about what I want to do, but they're already a quarter of the way in. If we're going to do this together, and quite frankly, if we're both going pretty much the same direction, shouldn't we do this together? It takes you a minute. It does take you a minute, because kind of like you had your own ideas about what you wanted to do, but it's kind of like, no, and this energy, I do feel like it's complementary to yours. It seems like it's something that you like. So it's kind of like, no, I get it. You've been putting in that effort. No, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't want to throw away my effort either. All right. But you have the Two of Swords, kind of like you're stopping for a second, and you're reviewing it, and you're thinking about it, but you're like, tell me what you got. Show me what you got. Show me what you did. I feel like that's where you're at this point. Like, show me what you got. Show me where you're going. Show me what you did. And you're kind of like, it just takes you a minute. It does take you a minute. It's kind of like, I had my own plans. I'm not just going to change my mind in 5 seconds. But show me what you got, and I'll see what I can do with this. The Prince of Pentacles comes in with the study. The Prince of Pentacles, this is something that usually it starts with a slow roll, and the farther it goes, the faster it goes, and it kind of builds, and then it kind of keeps going and keeps going, kind of like a train. It starts off very slow, but once it gets up to speed, it's hard to make it stop. One of those things. But also, when it gets up to speed, it pretty much stays there. Right? You know where you want to be, and you get there, and you stay there. And I'm getting like, it's taking them a minute and it's the study card here is like they got to show you what they're doing, because you're like, all right, I understand you've been putting a lot of effort into it, but just because you've been putting a lot of effort into it doesn't mean I'm gonna agree. You got to show me what you got. You got to show me what you've been doing, and I got to think about where you're going with it. It really takes you a minute, kind of like, do I believe this is good enough? That's kind of where we're going, I think. Is this good enough for me to be involved with? Like, I don't know if it's optimal to you, but it may be like, is it good enough? You got more Pentacle cards coming in. You got the 3, and I feel like this is more, see, this is where I'm getting that Knight energy again. Like, I often say this deck with the Prince and Princess, a lot of times, like the Knight and Page energy, it just depends on how it's adding in. I don't automatically just view the Princess as the Page. Sometimes she is the Knight. But because I'm feeling that Knight energy is continuing on, I don't feel like it's diminishing. I feel like it's actually getting stronger. And the 3 of Pentacles is like, you're seeing what they've done. You're seeing what they have so far, and you're like, all right, listen, I see what you got. How about we do this with what you have? How about we kind of just, I feel like you're kind of like, let's just fine-tune this a little bit and do it this way, like this. And if you do this and we do that and we kind of move it around just a little bit, I'll do this with you. We can do this together. That way, you know, I kind of get this going where I want to. You still get to get the most benefit out of the work you've already put in. We can all be happy. It's kind of like a question, like, we can all be happy? Like, if they agree, we can all be happy. I do feel like they will. They're not really sure about what you're thinking. For some reason, they're not really sure if this is what they want, but they're letting go of whatever the problem is. Like, they're letting go of, like they're not holding so tight, like, we got to do it my way. They're not doing that. They're letting go of that. They're like, my way, my way. They're not doing that. They're letting go of that. They're like, okay, well, if you're going to help, you're going to be a part of this. All right. The Moon card is telling me they're not really sure if it's the best idea or not, but the fact that you're helping them and you're going to be a part of this, they like that a lot. So literally, I feel like the reason they're going along is because you as a person they like. And they're like, well, you know, I think the Capricorn's a stand-up person. I think, you know, from what I've seen of them, when they have a goal, they get something out of it. They don't just waste their time. And that's what they look at you. They look at you as a person that doesn't waste their time. If you want to go this way, you have good reasons for it. So they're just kind of like taking you on personality. Like, they believe you. They feel like you have a good idea. They don't really... The Moon card is telling me they don't really understand why you want to do this and do that. They might be wondering, like, do you just want to put your name on this? Like, do you just want to do it so it looks more like you created it? They don't really know. Like, they're not understanding everything you're doing. But they're also like, no, I think the Capricorn's a stand-up person, so even if they just want to do it this way for their own reasons, I think that's fine as long as it works out profitable for both of us. Cool? Cool. This is good. This is good. Prosperity and the 6 of Cups. One of the reasons you want to change things, and this is why I think they don't understand it. This makes a lot of sense to me why they don't get it with the Moon card. History for you. History of how things go, how they felt, where you've hit pitfalls before. In some respect, you have some type of experience, in some rational way. For example, even if you were going into psychology, but maybe you had 3 or 4 jobs before this where you dealt with the public constantly, like maybe through like a telephone service or through banking or whatever it was. You may not have been there to help people with their psychological problems, but you dealt with a lot of people with psychological problems. So I'm just saying, you've dealt with there's something about this where you have some version of history where, like, you're basing your thoughts, you're basing where you want to go on things you've experienced. You're using experience. It may not be a direct match. It's kind of like, again, somebody going into psychology, but they had a call center job for a few years, and they've had dealing with people in custody, face to face. Maybe they've had a childhood development career before that. They've had things that are related, but not directly in that line. But they're like, yeah, I've dealt with a lot of different people with a lot of different issues. So I've learned my own way to deal with that. It's not the same thing. And this thing is with same parallel to you. You haven't dealt with this situation exactly the same, but you have a lot of different things you're pulling from. Like, this is similar, and I see how that went. This is similar to, I see how that went, and that's similar, and you're pulling in all this information, kind of like these things are similar enough that they look like they're going to be very close. Not exact, but I have something to stand on to build my next step forward. Which I feel like some people would be like, you can build 50 sheds, but building 50 sheds does not make you ready to build a house. Granted, because I'm feeling this energy come in, so I'm going to say, no, but if you built 50 sheds and somebody else never built anything in their life, you have a better idea of like rules are going to have to be met, thresholds are going to have to be looked after, having things watertight, protecting things from the elements, the fact that, first things have to happen first, second things have to happen second. Like you have like a structure something. You have a structure to go with. It may not be the perfect thing, maybe a completely different thing, but I think I've had this conversation with somebody before. Like if somebody is used to building, like they built 50 sheds, that doesn't mean they're ready to build a house. True. But if you add that person in with somebody else who's never done anything at all like that, the person who's built 50 sheds definitely has something to stand on, and kind of like there's going to be regulations, there's going to be certain levels things have to be set at. There's going to be like they know how to put boards together correctly and the way to put them together so they can withstand pressure or weight. They can take a load, and those type of things. You may not exactly know how to build the house, but you have a leg up on somebody who doesn't have a clue. Okay, where are we going? The last section, and it all comes in at once. You do have a plan, but you're going to have to develop this plan as it goes. Because again, I feel like it's going from building sheds to building a house. Certain things I feel like you're just not going to know. And when you start off, you're kind of like, I don't even know. It's like when it finally starts happening and you put that first step forward, you're like, oh boy. Like, I had a plan for this. I was pretty confident with this plan. But now that it's actually into application, I'm not feeling as comfortable because I don't have a very solid structure. You're going to have to build the plan as you go. But I'm also getting, as Capricorn, I'm feeling that energy with the Seven of Wands. It's going to be a struggle at first for you to like work with the plan and move timelines and put things together correctly. But again, like first things are first. I got to know how to get the base correct. How do we do the base so it can be weight bearing? What type of things, like what type of clearances do we need? What type of wiring has to go in here? Does it have to be close to this or away from that? Is there like something over here I have to look out for? You're going to have like a heads up on what to start with, and you'll build your plan accordingly. It's going to be a struggle at first is what I'm getting, but the farther you get, the more organized you're going to be. Anytime you have a question, you're going to find the answer. It just might be a struggle to find the answer. You seem to know what questions to ask. It's just getting the answers and searching out the answers in a way that you're comfortable with. But you got Pentacles here, Queen of Pentacles. Don't get caught up in the gender, but like the more you plan, the farther you go, the stronger it gets, the easier it gets, because you're like, all right, the farther I go, the more I know. This kind of reminds me of this. This makes sense. You seem to have other points of reference of like, okay, this is how I'm putting it together. Who else has done this? What type of structure, like what did they do first, what did they do second, and why? You're definitely looking out for those answers, and you're finding what you need. The other person is helpful. The farther you go, the more helpful they get. No, they're telling me they are. The farther you go, the more helpful they get. When you say like, all right, I know we got to make sure that this base is weight bearing, and you're just kind of like, I'm not sure exactly if we should do this type of base, that type of base, or the other one. They will go and find information. They will help you find the information. They're also helpful at like once the base is chosen, creating it and helping you do that. They're very much searching out. They're also going to be that person that asks those questions like, okay, you think we should have a wood base, but what about this and what about that? And you'll be like, oh crap, well that's true. They will ask you those questions that may seem annoying but are very beneficial. Kind of like, oh, that's right, I forgot about that. Oof. But you're thankful they asked at the same time. They're going to be those people. Like they're going to keep you on point. They're going to help point out things that instead of having to worry about them later. They're going to be like, yeah, this type of doorway, it seems good now, but when we try to move furniture in here, isn't it going to be hard to open this door and get things around this corner? And you're going to be like, Oh, that's a good point. Hold on. I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but I should have been, so thank you. What else can we do with this? And I feel like that's this type of person. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, no, I want to think about that. I'd rather know now. I'd rather figure it out now than later. It's just obnoxious that it didn't just kind of fall into place, but I'm glad you said something. I feel like it's one of those things. This is gonna go well. I feel like this is gonna go well. It's just gonna... I feel like you're struggling a little in the beginning only because you have a high standard of what you want to come out of this. And it makes you nervous that there's not already a good plan already set and you just have to follow it. You're kind of creating the plan as you go, and I feel like that's not the most comfortable place for you. But you're very good at, like, adjusting it as needed, and this other person is also calling out things they're seeing, which makes it a lot easier for you to find the problems now rather than later. Anything else? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.